Is it cold in here, or is it just Generation Snowflake? Hey everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Whittle and Scott Ott. This is Right Angle, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. And gentlemen, a couple of stories caught my eye about the millennial generation, Gen Y, Gen whatever we're calling them this week. I can never keep track. 3 in 5 millennials say life is more stressful now than ever. I assume they weren't around for various world wars, Vietnam, Korea, any of that stuff, because, well, we know they weren't. These kids are so stressed out that, well, I can't call them kids anymore. They're young adults. We should call them that. They're so stressed out that participants struggle to fall asleep nearly 3 nights per week. That's about 138 nights per year where they're just tossing and turning and unable to sleep because of their smartphones. You might think I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. This survey put together a list of the top 20 things that are keeping millennials up at night, that's causing them all of this stress. And out of the top 20 things, 5 of them have to do with their smartphones, and all 5 of those are in the top 10 out of 20. Scott, would it shock you to learn that millennials are stressed about losing their wallet or credit card? That came in at number 1. We all know what a hassle that is. Arguing with their partner. No, nobody likes to fight with their spouse or their boyfriend or girlfriend. Commute, traffic delays. Oh, sure. Everybody hates that. Number 4, losing phone. Number 6, slow Wi-Fi. Number 7, phone battery dying. Is this something to lose sleep over in today's world, really?
And you're talking to like absolutely the worst person in the world about this. I don't lose sleep over anything. I can't even lose sleep over coffee. I mean, I have a hard time. I am a professional grade napper and can fall asleep.
Me too.
And Bill just learned yesterday.
I've been that way my whole life. I can just fall asleep in combat.
So it's hard for me to, even when I am preoccupied with something or concerned about something, there's an old saying that I heard on a audio recording years ago that when President Eisenhower went to bed at night, he would kneel down at his bedside and say words to the effect of, Lord, you've given me the responsibility that is way above my ability here to be the President of the United States, and today I've done the best I could, God willing, with the responsibility you gave me. Well, now I'm going to go get some sleep, and I'm just leaving it in your hands for now. Wow. And it was being somewhat facetious.
No, but it's still pretty cool. So somebody knows what they're doing is going to take the 3 a.m. call. Is that basically what he's saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
So, now I'll tell you that it's no surprise that cell phones rank so high on the list, because naturally, if you're going to worry about things, you'd be worried about things that are very close to you, that are very important to you, that are a constant companion. I mean, 150 years ago, I could easily see somebody losing sleep over whether the mare was going to foal successfully or not, and whether he'd have another plow horse. That's kind of thing, because it's what the farmer was absorbed in. I could see somebody losing sleep over something related to their job. But literally, these phones have become Gollum's precious. And, it's literally the same motion. Remember when Gollum was holding the precious and doing this? This is literally the motion that we do with them. And I'm certainly, not innocent in this regard. I have this phone with me at all times. I use it for very, very many different things, including work. Not as much socially. I've deleted all the social apps, and I only take phone calls from my wife. So
are the only ones you get?
Yeah. Well, the rest get screened out by my people. But anyway, I think that these kids, I mean, there's nothing we can do about this because technology moves inexorably on. It has become so linked emotionally with their lives that certainly Wi-Fi going down has got to be one of their biggest fears.
But it wasn't going down; it was slow Wi-Fi.
Oh yes, well,
that's a problem.
So brownout.
I guess if it's too slow to stream videos from BillWhittle.com, okay, I understand. But anything else, watch it on Netflix when you get home. Scott, let me give you a little follow-up though. I want you to listen to some of these items that are in the bottom half of the list. Paying bills came in at number 12. Job interviews, 13. 17, school loan payments, and we know how indebted to the banks the kids are for their overpriced educations. And at number 18, almost the very bottom of the list, job security. I mean, the other company I work for just got sold, and for about a week and a half, I didn't know if I was going to have a job or not. And guess what? I didn't sleep for a week and a half. This is the kind of stuff that you would think really bothers adults, yeah?
$1.5 trillion in outstanding student loan debt at this moment. You would think that each person's share of that would be a considerable worry. The Trump administration has just announced that they plan to pursue some reformation of that, since almost all student loans now come through the federal government, and they are hoping to limit the amount of money that students can borrow so that they don't go on and pursue graduate education, and students and parents are going into hock in the six figures in order to get these educations that will never possibly be able to pay off. So, that would be a natural thing to be worried about if one were going to worry. It is a different generation, though, isn't it? I mean, I think that they're not worried about their career stability because they don't think there is any such thing. So there's not. Oh,
that's a subtle point. That's very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need to worry about whether you're going to have this job 6 months or a year or 5 years from now. You probably are not, and you were never expecting
you just Uber
that.
in between in between your regular gigs. Bill, let me tell you that I found another story that I think is just inextricably intertwined with this one, even though I found it in a completely different news source, different writer, and all the rest. The headline is, Kids Aren't Growing Up. Shocking new poll says parents are killing kids' life skills. And listen to this, 76% of parents, and this is of college-age kids in college, young adults, reminded their adult children of deadlines they need to meet, including schoolwork. 74% made appointments for them, including doctor's appointments. And 15% of families, we're getting into the nitty-gritty here, but 15% of families, parents with children in college had texted or called their kids to wake them up so they didn't miss a class or a test. This helicopter parenting, we are killing our kids with this, aren't we?
We absolutely are. I just finished last week's Firewall, which was called Why Johnny Can't Think. And one of the lines I had in there was that this millennial generation has been deprived of the greatest gift that a teacher or parent could ever give their child, and that's the gift of failure. The opportunity to go out and fail and then come home stung and to realize, if you've never been allowed to fail, you've never learned that the failure is not the end of the process. There's life after failure, But they've never experienced it, and small failures become catastrophic failures for them because they have no scale. They've simply, these are just as it was said in the Sundry Times. But the emotions you feel when you lose a baseball game at age 10 are much the same emotions you would feel if you didn't get the job interview you wanted at age 30. But the problem is, when I was age 10 and we lost a baseball game, I got to cry in the dugout by myself and not in front of 34 professionals who are closing multi-million. No, I didn't actually cry in the dugout. We had a great coach, a real estate guy named Mr. Kirkwood, and we lost all 10 games our first season. He took us out every time, got us a Slurpee, said, "You guys did your best. We'll get them next time," and it was okay. And so this is, I certainly understand the motive behind it. The millennials' parents weren't particularly good parents. A lot of the greatest generation came home having seen things that nobody should have to see, and they want to listen to their Perry Como, and they don't want any loud noises, and they don't want any, and they really on some, I mean this with the most enormous respect, the most enormous respect. But they'd been through so much that they really had shut down emotionally in a lot of ways. They'd been through the Depression as kids, then they saw their best friends turn to pink mist, and so they were a little distant. So the parents of the millennials overcompensated for this by being not only everywhere parents, but also being their best buddy. What's the matter, buddy? I hear that every time. I just cringe. I say, this kid's never gonna get over. So the point is, the parents weren't willing to do the difficult things that parents had to do. They were trying to be the kids' friends because they didn't have parents that were coming to the baseball games or any of that stuff. So that explains it, but it doesn't solve the problem. I remember seeing a story of a woman who was in her 40s, leading edge of the millennial generation, who was going to regular therapy because she didn't know how to do laundry at home with washing machines in the house.
Wow.
No, it's true. And so this whole idea that we're going to protect kids and therefore they're going to have self-esteem. In fact, actually, we're going to give them the self-esteem first by telling them how wonderful they are and how they're all winners, and then they're going to go out and win. Is an experiment that was conducted on an entire generation that destroyed their intellectual curiosity, destroyed their self-sufficiency, destroyed their independence, and left them perpetual 5-year-olds. And I suspect that it is possible to train them to be adults on a lot of ways in a functional way. But I suspect that deep down their emotional core is never going to recover. They're never going to have the confidence that you get from having a bicycle at 8 and riding out 30 miles from home and realizing, oh my God, it's dark, I got to get back, or buying a car at 16 and deciding you want to drive from Miami to Kitt Peak Observatory in Arizona. Three of us will just rotate. When you have that kind
Nice.
of, you're out in the middle of nowhere, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, you don't have any gas in the car, you're 16 years old. What do I do? And they've never had these opportunities for catastrophe. And having had them myself, what I find is they're not really catastrophes. Sometimes you
It's just stuff you got to do.
That's stuff you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's some of the best times of my life, and I think it's what really set the stage for me now being happily married with kids of my own, is the times I spent in my late teens and early 20s out in the world with no parental help whatsoever, learning to pay the rent on small market radio wages, which are this big, and having a blast with my fellow reprobate friends. I miss those days.
One thing
they
very
taught me a
fast.
lot.
When you talk about all the cell phone issues, this isn't an explanation so much as it's an observation. If you watch a group of young people out at a restaurant, like at a birthday party, let's say.
Yeah, they're not talking to each
You'll see
other.
15 people sitting around a table, and every single one of them is down looking at their phones. So
Yeah.
they have a much closer emotional connection to their phone than they do to the people who are their friends, and whatever friends they have usually are friends through the phone. So yeah, it's a new person, and it's problematic.
Yeah, totally atomized. It's sad to see that out in public. Robert Heinlein wrote, I think it was a Lazarus Long line, "Don't handicap your children's lives by making them easy. Keep them short on pocket money and long on hugs." And I've always loved that. This reminds me of studies I've seen over the last few years. One of them was that kids raised in households with multiple pets, dogs, cats, birds, have far fewer allergies than kids who are raised in households without pets. Kids who are kicked outside pretty much all summer vacation, rolling around in the dirt and stuff, those kids have far fewer health problems, especially asthma, than kids who spend all day indoors on their iPads or their iPhones. And the thing is, 'cause you get out in the world, you get dirt under your fingernails, and you develop the inoculations to life's little annoyances. And it's the exact same way with getting out there and living your life. You get exposed to the things that develop the character you need for when real challenges come along. And we're depriving our kids of that. I'm trying to do better than that as a dad, and I hope that the generation coming after the millennials will be a little harder headed, a little more commonsensical. We'll see what's going to happen. All I can say is I know what's going on with my two, and I can see what's going on with a lot of their friends, and that gives me a lot of hope going forward. So thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please click on over to BillWhittle.com. Become a member. We would love to have you on board. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.